A man from Leicester has gone on trial accused of trying to murder a stranger because she was a Muslim. Nottingham Crown Court heard Paul Moore drove at the woman twice in Beaumont Leys last September.
The 21-year-old is also accused of trying to run down a 12-year-old girl in a separate incident nearby. Well, there were angry exchanges when his half-brother gave evidence against him this afternoon.
Well, our social affairs correspondent Jeremy Ball has been following this case. Good evening. What has the jury been told then?
Well, the prosecution say Paul Moore committed an act of cold, calculating evil, that he targeted Zainab Hussein because she was wearing a hijab, that he tried to kill her because of her race and her Islamic faith. And they say it's no coincidence that this happened only days after the Parsons Green tube bombing in London. And we heard witnesses describe him speeding down Butterwick Drive and then veering onto a pavement where Mrs Hussein was walking home after dropping her children at primary school. Mrs Hussein was described as hysterical. We heard she was left with several broken bones and that 5 months on she's still bedbound. And the jury heard this statement that she gave to the police.
Okay, Jeremy, we're having problems bringing that statement to our viewers. But were there any... tell me about Paul Moore. He's been accused of targeting a schoolgirl nearby, hasn't he?
Yeah, first of all, let me just tell you about the police interviews we heard in court today with two of the passengers in his car. Now, they both said he'd been drinking heavily. They said they were scared that he'd been driving so dangerously, and they both said he'd been talking about wanting to run someone over, and that after this incident he started laughing as he drove away. We also heard evidence in court from his half-brother, Lewis Welsh, who said Paul Moore came to his home afterwards very, very drunk and admitted running over an Asian woman. And Mr Welsh said he was proud of himself. He put it down to the 7/7 bombings in London. Now, that prompted a bit of an angry exchange in court here. Paul Moore swore at him from the dock. As Mr Welsh left the court, he shouted back, "Fry in jail." Now, you mentioned that second incident. That happened shortly after the first one on Butterwick Drive. Now, we heard that the girl involved in that was walking to school at the Babington Academy when his car brushed past her, sent her school bag flying. Now, she wasn't seriously injured, and Paul Moore has admitted dangerous driving, but he's denied two more serious charges of grievous bodily harm and of attempted murder, and he's due back in court tomorrow.
All right, Jeremy Ball, thank you.